It's official. Jalen Hurts will get the start for the Eagles in place of Carson Wentz on Sunday. When asked why he made the decision ahead of the Saints game, Doug Peterson said, quote, "Same reason I made the switch in the game. We need a spark. It's not about one guy here. We all know we need to be better." So, Shannon, is this the right move or wrong move?
Skip, you know what I love it when coaches say that it's not just one player. But that's the only that's the only position that you change. You didn't change the offensive lineman. You didn't change the wide receivers. You didn't change anything on the defense. You changed that one position, but you said, yeah, it's bigger than one player. Skip, right move, wrong move, I believe it's the only move. And because I think they've lost confidence in Carson Wentz, I believe Wentz has lost confidence in himself. And you saw after the game, Aaron Rodgers talking to him. And Aaron wouldn't divulge what they talked about. He said, if Carson wants to talk about that, I'll allow him to tell you what we discussed on the field.
Aaron did say he's a fan of Wentz.
Right.
Yep.
Skip, I believe he's lost confidence, and, you know, this is a move that you probably had to make. But let me tell you about this moving forward. When you bench a guy this late in his career, one or two things are going to have to happen. Either the coach is going to have to leave or you're going to have to move him. I don't believe you can come, Skip, I believe this is for the rest of the season because it does you no good to bench him for 2 games and then bring him back for 2 games. Mm-hmm. I believe in order for you to move forward and get the best of both, somebody needs to go. Either Wentz, you trade Wentz, or you cut him and eat $60 million, or you move Doug Peterson. Mm-hmm. But I don't believe they can coexist together, Skip. I don't believe moving forward they can coexist together. But this was a move, like you said, they need a spark. Boy, Jalen Hurts got, I sure wish you would have tried to let this thing spark up against New Orleans, who happens to be right now playing as the best team, one of the best. They're clearly the best team in the NFC, and arguably the second best team in all of football, considering how many games they've won consecutive, and their defense has been dominant. Mm-hmm. We don't really talk about defenses a whole lot, Skip, because the offenses have been doing their thing, but New Orleans defense can flat out get after you. And Jalen Hurts is going to have to use those legs to get out of harm's way because they can come get you. Dennis Allen, who's the DC in New Orleans, they can lock you up because you know how they like to play, Skip. They like to play man cover with Marshawn and Jack Rabbit. They got Malcolm Jenkins can play man on your tight end, and they can come get you with that front 4. So good luck. But, Skip, I believe this was probably the only move that they can make given where they are right now. And basically because remember, Skip, a couple of weeks ago, they asked Doug Peterson, was he going to make the move? He said no, because it would send the wrong message. Well, you just sent a clear message to your football team. Mm-hmm. You just sent even a clearer message to Carson Wentz. You're the problem. Mm-hmm. And we need to go in a different direction.
Mm. And you do agree he is the problem?
He's a part of the problem, but there's a lot of problems going on, from offensive line to skill position. I think Doug Peterson has done this kid a disservice. I think he's called a horrible game this year.
Okay, so I dug in on this from Carson Wentz's rookie year on. Not a fan. I don't believe in his ability to play the position at a supremely high, consistent level. I don't think he's consistently accurate enough. I don't think he has the best feel for the game. Best thing he does is just sort of take off and try to run through a brick wall. And I'll give him this. He's a big, strapping kid at 6'5", maybe 235 or 40. Mm-hmm. If you just look at him in and of himself, he's got a much bigger arm than Jalen Hurts does, and he's a much bigger man than Jalen Hurts is, even though Jalen's 6'1", 225.
Right.
But I believe, as I said, the day of the draft on that, was it Saturday? Yeah, it would have been on Saturday when he was drafted later in the 2nd round. Mm-hmm. I went on social and said Jalen Hurts will ultimately be a better quarterback than Carson Wentz. And the only reason I would be afraid of the Eagles would be if Jalen Hurts seizes control of this job going forward. And then I'm going to have really mixed emotions because I'm a big Jalen Hurts fan. Every time Jalen plays Dallas, and they got one game coming up in a couple of weeks, obviously, it's going to be hard for me not to root for Jalen Hurts because I just love his football character. I love his dedication. I love that he's a coach's kid. I love his natural-born leadership that he just oozes, as he did at Alabama and Oklahoma, and he will quickly take over this locker room and huddle. So I think it's absolutely the right move, but I now offer Jalen Hurts congratulations and condolences because I ask you, has any rookie who didn't start from game one, any rookie who gets thrown in later in the year, had a higher degree of difficulty for a first start than this one.
No.
This team is playing at an absurdly high level on defense right now. Over the last 4 weeks, they're tied for first in sacks in the NFL. They lead the NFL in yards allowed. So you can make a case it's the best defense, or at least it's playing the best right now in the NFL. They have just terrorized Matt Ryan twice in a few weeks. And you know what they did to Tom Brady on that Sunday night at Tampa Bay, right? So we know what they're capable of. So my first thought yesterday was, you know, being cynical, you know, sort of second guesser that I would be, I started thinking, well, gee, is this like Tebow-esque sabotage? Is somebody upstairs saying, let's just throw him to the wolves and get this over with? He's our backup. I don't know where the allegiances lie about who wanted Jalen Hurts. Was it just Howie Roseman, or was Dougie P in on it? Did he second the emotion of did he love Jalen Hurts? Because it feels like it's the wrong place, wrong time to get him off on the right foot, right? Isn't this a recipe for disaster?
It is, and you're asking an awful lot to put a young man, the 13th game of the season, and you got to go up against that on the road.
No, I think it's at home.
Is it home?
I'm pretty sure it's at Philly. But
you might be right. Yeah. That's Skip. That's a tall task.
It's a tall task, and you keep saying all year, well, they lost Deshaun, and you can go down the list of how banged up they've been at receiver, right?
Yes.
Alshon's back, but he seems like a
shell of himself, right? Zach Ertz is back, but he wasn't involved.
And I don't know if his heart's in it.
Right, because he wanted that contract extension.
And Zach Ertz is a huge Carson Wentz backer because they've had a special connection.
Correct.
Right?
Correct. Yes.
Okay, so Jalen gets thrown into that, and it reminded me a little bit. Remember the Tebow when Elway and Fox obviously they inherited Tim Tebow.
Right.
They didn't draft him.
Right.
Josh McDaniels drafted him the year before. So they said after 1-4 start with Kyle Orton, they said, okay, we're going to Miami. Let's just get this over with. Let's throw him to the Wolves in Miami, and you know the rest of the story. They somehow survived and won in overtime at Miami, and here they went.
Right.
Right? Okay, so can he survive here? I think he'll survive. I don't expect him to play great against, because nobody plays great.
Right.
If Brady and Matt Ryan, a former MVP, can't play great against his team, nobody can.
Well, I think you have to treat him differently, Skip, because of his legs. So you always worry about guys that can run. I'm not so much. If anything, I'm going to make him throw the football. I don't believe he can. If I'm Dennis Allen, I do not believe Jalen Hurts can beat me from the pocket throwing the football. Where he can hurt me is getting out on the edges and scrambling. And that's the mistake I think a lot of times you made. If you look at Miami, Skip, the mistake that they made is they kept letting Tebow get outside. And he kept picking up first down at the first down. And then next thing you know, he makes a play at the end of the game throwing it to beat you.
He did.
So that's what you got to be careful of. I'm going to make Jalen Hurts. You believe he can play quarterback in this league? Well, okay, I'm going to make him beat me from the pocket.
Okay. I do think they will play better for Jalen Hurts than they have played for Carson Wentz, because the one thing I do agree with you on, the team has lost confidence in Carson. And to your point, Carson has to have lost most of his faith in himself because he's bringing up the rear in just about every meaningful category. He's leading in interceptions, sacks, fumbles.
You got to think about this, Skip. In 12 games, and he's been sacked 50 times, and he played a quarter and a half with 2 and a half quarters last game. And he's been sacked 50 times. If you project that out, you're getting, Skip, you're talking about 62, 65, somewhere between 62 and 65 sacks.
Yep.
That'll wreck. Remember, Derek Carr got David Carr. They sacked him, I think, 70-plus times his rookie year. He was never the same. You're asking, that's like a running back. You let him carry the ball 400 times. That's a point of no return. You start letting quarterbacks get hit 50 and 60 times, you're going to a point of no return. But, Skip, when you do this, I don't see benching a quarterback that's been in the league that long, that you're paying that kind of money to. You bench him that late in the season, how you can come back to him as that coach.
Okay, remember, he makes $35 million a year.
Yes.
And if you cut him after this year, he would count $60 million dead money against the cap.
Yes. What? But think about it. You still owe him like $29 next year guaranteed.